Hello, this is Samurai Lens, and today I will recap a 2021 American fiction drama titled Awake. Spoiler alert, watch out, bring your drink, and take care. Former US Army medic Jill Adams worked as security at a college. That night, she entered the research lab holding a coffee. She hid some money inside the coffee and waved at the CCTV before giving the coffee to the security. She sneaked into the research lab and stole some pills. On her way home that morning, she stopped by to sell the drugs she had stolen to some addicts, after which she drove to her mother-in-law Doris's home to pick up her kids. She picked up her children, Noah and Matilda. While Matilda was happy to go with her mother, Noah searched Jill's car to ensure she wasn't on pills. As Noah and Jill argued, the power on their car suddenly shut down and caused an accident. After they felt fine, another vehicle hit them and their car fell into the water. Jill and Noah struggled to survive. As they found their way outside the water, they saw Matilda. She had drowned, and the sheriff resuscitated her. The police informed them that power had stopped working all over the county, so they were to walk into a hospital for a checkup. As they entered the hospital, the doctors were busy with emergencies that couldn't treat their wounds. Jill treated her injury herself. In the hospital, they noticed all the patients in coma had all woken. They walked down to Doris's home, and Doris asked Jill to stay there for the night rather than walk home. That night, Doris couldn't sleep. She asked Jill if she had drugs she could use to sleep, but Jill had stopped taking hard drugs. Noah couldn't sleep either. Jill went to Noah, and Noah told her to see shooting stars, but Jill informed him it was satellites and not shooting stars. Very early the following day, Jill rode a bicycle to work. On her way, she met the guy she sells drugs to, and the guy asked her for more drugs, hoping to pay her double for it, since people were in high demand for drugs. Jill got to work and sneaked into the research room for drugs. The soldiers caught her, but Dr. Murphy supported her, and she was released. Dr. Murphy said she was going to the hub. The hub was a location set aside to research the cause and solution to the recent happenings. Dr. Murphy asked for Jill's help in the research, but Jill refused. After Dr. Murphy left, another colleague, Brian, explained to Jill that no one could sleep, and the sleep disorder could cause several health failures. Brian told her that the only old woman who could sleep had been taken for research at the hub. Jill wondered if that was true and told Brian that Matilda could sleep. Realizing that her daughter might be taken as a lab sacrifice, she quickly changed her words and said she met with an accident. She rode home immediately to find Matilda. Upon getting home, Noah told her Doris had taken Matilda to church. At church, the pastor ministered that God might have wanted them to stay awake. Doris said Matilda could sleep, so the pastor talked with Matilda. They tried to make her sleep at the church, but she couldn't. The pastor prayed with her, and she slept. At home, Jill asked Noah to pack some of their things as they needed to get Matilda and run with her. Brian came into their house and asked Jill again if Matilda could sleep. Jill lied, but Noah innocently told Brian Matilda could sleep. Brian followed them to the church. On their way, they meet people who are hysterical and irrational. People were killing each other, and some were dead already. Brian told Jill that they had just started, as many people would die. At the church, the pastor told the members that they had found someone who could sleep. A lot of the members asked for Matilda to be sacrificed like Jesus, and Jim, a police officer, brought out his gun to shoot Matilda. Jill entered with Noah and Brian during this commotion. Jill asked for her daughter, but Doris refused to give Matilda back. Brian tried to convince everyone about Matilda's importance, but Jim shot Brian. The church scattered, and during the commotion, Doris took Matilda to hide her. Jill found Matilda. Noah also found the hub's location in Brian's pocket. Jill ran away with her kids into the woods. As they got to safety, Noah asked Jill where they were going, and Jill insisted she would take Matilda to safety. Noah believed that taking Matilda to the hub was a better option, as they could find a solution through Matilda. He said that if Jill refused to leave Matilda, Jill and Noah would die, and Matilda would be alone. Jill went into a nearby garage to find a car that worked mechanically. As the thugs in the garage left, she took the car and returned to her kids. They journey through the night to find the hub. That night, while Matilda slept, Jill explained to Noah that Murphy is a psychiatrist and she worked on clients with sleep deprivation. She said Murphy does some inhumane experiments, but Noah insisted they should go to the hub. The following day, they continued their journey, and Jill stopped at a library. She asked Noah to find a map, as they would need a map to continue their journey. In the library, she trained Matilda on using a gun, hoping that she would use the weapon to protect herself when Jill and Noah die. Noah found a map. While they searched for the coordinates of the hub, they fell into the captives of some escaped prisoners. One of the prisoners stole their car with Matilda sleeping in it. The other inmates tried to attack Jill and Noah, but the guy who stole their car came to their rescue. The guy asked them to enter the car and drove off with them. In the car, the guy said his name was Dodge, and Jill pointed the gun at him. Dodge eventually stopped at a plane crash location where they sought necessities. Jill made Matilda use her mouth to draw out gas because she felt she would need it when everyone died. They continued their journey to the hub. Jill taught Matilda how to drive because she was the only one strong among them, and she would need the driving skills when she was left alone on Earth. On their way, they were attacked by some men, but they survived with broken glass and windscreen. They eventually got to the hub. Dodge asked if he should come with them, but Jill asked him not to bother. Jill left her kids by the road and gave them necessities to make them survive. She said she would go into the hub first and find a solution. Jill sneaked into the hub after eavesdropping on some officials who said the code loudly. She wore a lab coat and disguised as a nurse. She asked for the woman who could sleep. She met the woman and asked the woman to help her. She said she would help the woman escape from the hub, but the woman must promise to take care of Matilda when everyone else died. The old woman told her she was meant to die months ago, and Jill was so weird. While she tried to convince the woman, Murphy caught her. She lied to Murphy that she got the address from Brian, and she came to help. She asked Murphy if they had found a solution, but Murphy told her there was no cure. Murphy said the lab workers had a cocktail that kept their brains functioning, but it caused neurological damage. Murphy hugged Jill and asked her to rest and help them. Jill went outside the lab to cry. She saw Dodge driving into the hub. The soldiers caught Dodge and threatened him with a gun. Noah and Matilda came out of the car, and Matilda confessed she could sleep. They were all taken into the hub. The next morning, Matilda asked how she could help. The doctor said they needed to find out what made her special, and she saw an ape that was being experimented on. The doctor said apes are the closest animals to humans biologically, so apes were also affected by this inability to sleep. They gave the ape anesthetic gas, but it didn't fall asleep. They tried the same experiment on Matilda, and she slept. Murphy figured there could be a solution. She walked up to Jill, who had been handcuffed. Jill was already delusional. Murphy asked Jill why Matilda was special. She wondered if Matilda had undergone an operation that made her special, but all Jill kept saying was that they should leave her kid. Murphy told Jill that their sleep disorder was caused by a solar flare that destroyed the power that made the human brain function. Jill begged Murphy to release her daughter, but Murphy refused. Meanwhile, the soldiers took Dodge from his room and gave him the cocktail to make his brain function. In the lab, Dr. Katz injected Murphy with the cocktail. While they were on it, the old woman beside Matilda got a heart attack and died. After this woman's death, Murphy asked Noah to be brought to the lab. She wanted to experiment with his brain with that of Matilda to know if it was different. Jill hallucinated where she was handcuffed. She saw Noah threatening to kill her. The soldiers entered the room and took away the real Noah. Jill begged the soldiers to leave her son. At the hub, all the soldiers became mentally derailed due to their sleep disorders and began shooting everyone. Jill broke her handcuff and set out to find her kids. She found Matilda in the lab, and they hugged each other. Jill set out to find Noah. Matilda eventually found Noah where he was trying to cut out a circuit. Noah got electrocuted and died. Matilda and Jill tried to resuscitate him, to no avail, and they both collapsed. The next morning, Matilda woke up to mourn her brother, but noticed he was back alive. They met a soldier who wanted to kill them, but they begged him otherwise. The family tried to pick some necessities at the hub so they could find safety elsewhere. Meanwhile, Jill is dying already, as she had spent about 6 days without sleeping. While Matilda was pushing a bed outside the lab, she found a sheriff's badge and remembered she had drowned. She asked her brother if she had died, and they both figured that the reason they were both alive was that they had temporarily died. They took their mother to the water, drowned her, and brought her out. They resuscitated her. The movie ended as Jill woke up. Thank you for watching, guys. It was Samurai Lens, and I'm excited for the next movie recap video. Don't miss it. Subscribe and share it for your loved ones. See you next time.